In this lesson, we'll work with AutoKey to hand animate some follow-through and overlapping action in the Pod Racer's cab. If we were to hit play, we can see that our Pod Racer is flying nicely across the path that we've made. But we have a problem here. The cab is rigid when it should actually drift and have some follow-through as the pod flies around the each curve. So that's what we're going to work on in this lesson, just adding some follow-through and overlapping action to create something more convincing. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, we will be using AutoKey. Now, we need to be very responsible with AutoKey because we can overwrite our animations with it. So let's say we have a pose that we like. With AutoKey turned on, if we try to repose our character, it's going to overwrite whatever key was on that frame. So if you're just testing out a pose, go ahead and use set key mode. Alright, but once you're ready to go in and start animating, you can go ahead and use AutoKey. I really like using AutoKey because it saves a lot of time in the keying process. Alright, so with that said, let's go ahead and begin. We'll select our pod, and what we'll do first is work on the positional movement of the Pod Racer's cab, and then we'll go back and add some rotation afterwards. Alright, so to get started here, have the Pod Racer going around that first curve to the right. So as it starts to leave that curve, we're going to want it to pull a little bit more to the right for follow through. So I'll go to about frame 34. I'm using the ZX axis. We could just go ahead and pull that over up into the right. Alright, so we have it kind of drifting to the right, and then as it starts to go around that next bend, naturally we'll want it to move down into the left. So we can go ahead and again in the ZX axis just go ahead and bring the Pod Racer in that direction. Okay, great. Now finally, as it comes to its final point in space, we can go ahead and head to the last frame, 150, and kind of start to bring that back up into the right, almost so that it's midway between the engines, but a little bit more offset. Alright, so now what we have, if we were to go ahead and start back the animation, kind of look at this in the top view, hit play, we can see that yes, the pod is moving, the cab's moving, but it's kind of still drifting unnaturally left and right. So what we'll want to do is go ahead and add some in-betweens to fix this. So let's go ahead and get started with that. What I'd like to do first is kind of offset the cab on frame 0. Okay, just so it's not in the center. When you're animating your characters, you want to do so in a way where the scene just doesn't appear to just start, almost like the character was already involved in something. So that's what we're doing here on frame 0. We're just going to go ahead and kind of bring that down, almost as if he was already in flight. Okay, alright, so now let's go ahead and add an in-between where we kind of hold the cab for a little bit longer as it leaves that right bend and moves towards the left. So in about frame 58, we can go ahead and take the cab and pull it a little bit more up into the right. Great, so now it's going to start to drift over to the left, and then we'll want it to hold there for a little bit longer, so we can go to about frame 115, bring it down to the left just a little bit more. Okay, great, and then it drifts right back to the center. Excellent, so from here we can go ahead and check out what we've done. We can go ahead and hit play. Great, that looks much better. Alright, so let's go ahead and add some rotation now. We'll finish up the follow through and overlapping by working with rotation. Alright, so what we'll want to do here is, again, the same thing we've done before with our move tool, but now we want to go ahead and add some rotation, some follow through and overlapping with rotation. So to start, we can go to frame 0 and kind of rotate the cab more to the left. And then as it goes around that bend, we can add an in-between on about frame 42 where the pod rotates to our right, kind of down a little bit more. Alright, so as we continue, now it's going around that left curve, so here we're going to want it to rotate to the left after we pass that key on 96. So let's say on about frame 106 we go there and rotate the pod just slightly over to the left again, kind of up a little bit more. And then as it moves up and to the right, we can have it rotate to the right a little bit more and down slightly. Okay, great. Alright, so let's go ahead and check this out again. I'll start back the animation. Can go ahead and hit play. Alright, that first curve looks good. We can hit play again. Got the next curve. Alright, great. And then the end of the animation. Let's see how that looks. How does it finish? Wonderful. Great, so we've learned how to work with AutoKey, and again, just be very responsible with it. If you're just posing just to test out a pose, go ahead and work with set key. But once you're ready to begin animating, go ahead and work with AutoKey. AutoKey does take some getting used to, so if you're not too used to it, go ahead and work with set key for a little while, and then once you are confident, you can go ahead and move to AutoKey.